Alright, what's up guys, it's KOSDFF here, and today I'm going to be doing a video that's a little different, a little outside of the normal genre of content that I produce on this channel. But it's a video style nonetheless that I'm trying to bring to my channel and slowly increase the regularity of which I upload, and that being the rant video. Now basically that means I pick a random topic and just rant about it, and if you follow me on Twitter you know I'm a fan of rantings, I do it all the time on there. But today's video I wanted to talk about, or just generally discuss and debate over, college and the American education system, the American higher education system. And what really has just brought this on is, you know, I'm one of those people, every morning I wake up, I come down on my computer, and I read a whole bunch of internet articles, I browse through, you know, Twitter and Facebook and see what everyone's talking about. And in general just kind of like soak in like an information diet of like 20 minutes. And increasingly, more and more, very surprisingly to me, I've been seeing a lot of stuff circle around popular culture about college being a money-making marketing machine, and that it is not necessary to succeed in America, which I don't know if that comes from, you know, confidence in our like robust economy, or just in general the kind of like, you know, the American dream where you can come here and, you know, you can always seek your fortunes and do whatever you want, which of course both of these things are really important and something I'm really prideful of. But the American education system is almost the whole reason why America is the way it is, and why we are able to do the things we are, and how we've done it in such a short amount of time. And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to explain why, you know, even if you disagree with the system, because I agree that it is a large marketing, money-making machine. The economy dipped 10 years ago, and the education system became one of the most profitable industries in America, because these are private institutions, even if they are state-funded and have private agendas, and they do make an obscene amount of capital every year, an obscene amount of revenue. And a lot of people, you know, use that kind of, I guess, capitalistic ideal against the education system and say, oh, you shouldn't partake in this because if school owns this, you know, there's other alternatives, community colleges, trade schools, and all these things, and I will touch upon all those topics because they all are a part of the American education system. And, you know, I do believe there is, just like, you know, everything in life, you know, anything important, there's propaganda on both sides of whether it's good or bad. But, you know, what do I mean by this popular culture thing? Well, basically, I've been seeing a bunch of musicians, funny enough, athletes, you know, not so much politicians, but, you know, just in general, people from popular culture, that what they do in popular culture doesn't necessarily require a college education, being, you know, musicians, athletes, you know, movie stars, things like that, which is surprising because so many of them come from, you know, the collegiate institutions that help them get into, you know, the NFL, the NBA, you know, certain musical groups and things like that. But, you know, of course, this is America, and the American dream is still very much alive. You do not need a college education to be successful. But for all the reasons I'm about to talk about, I would think that, you know, you want to hedge your bets. You don't want to go out there and depend on luck, depend on your birthrights and things like that. There is just a multitude of reasons besides being successful, besides making money when you're older, besides, you know, having a piece of paper hanging on your wall. There is more than just those reasons to go to college. And people that have never gone to college, more increasingly people whose parents who didn't go to college, produce kids that have this attitude that, you know, college isn't something that they need, and that they can do just fine without it. And I'm about to tell you all the reasons why that's just not true. And the road is extremely long. And a lot of it, you know, extends well beyond your 4 years in college, or even your year or 2 or 3 years or whatever you do in grad school, because there's a lot of different programs. They all take a different amount of times. But there's just, it's an amazingly deep functioning system that if you don't partake in, I'm telling you right now that even if you get a great job without a college degree, or if you get extremely lucky in doing something, you know, outside of you starting your own business and or working for your parents, that you're going to be doing that same job for pretty much forever. And being able to move around in, you know, the American economy, in careers, you're going to be greatly limited without this degree. And I'm going to go into all this. I keep, you know, laying a whole bunch of roadmaps on what I'm about to talk about. Just simply because I want to make sure that everyone's reading the title of this video and has made it this far in the video. You're probably already thinking of all their reasons and things that I'm wrong, and, you know, all the different arguments you have, and probably already commented. But, you know, I definitely want to get into all of that. So the American, I want to give like a short background of myself. So just so you know, you know, you're not listening to someone that doesn't have a college education or that never went through all this whole system. And, you know, I do believe that my experience in school was, you know, pretty varied. You know, I definitely went to a lot of different schools. I moved around. I did different programs. I made decisions late in college. I do believe I have what most would consider basically an average experience when it comes to like American youth going to school. So it started out, I didn't, do so much in high school like I feel like most Americans do, and that doesn't come from any lack of the American education system, because it is designed to be public and available to everybody. And how do you teach a classroom full of 25 kids? You teach the dumbest kid in the class and everybody else just kind of tags along. And for that reason, you get a lot of people extremely bored in high school and never having to do anything, and this develops extremely poor educational habits when it comes to college. And I'm one of those people. I didn't do shit in high school. I'm not afraid to admit it. I didn't do anything. I don't think I did homework one time, like never. And the only class I couldn't pass with flying colors was language classes, because you actually have to study that shit. But otherwise, I never really did anything. I would pay attention in class sometimes. I would skip school all the time. And by just basic intelligence and just, kind of understanding the system a little bit, I, graduated like a C+, B- average without really ever doing anything in school. And this, I thought at the time I was this smart-ass little kid, I don't have to do all this, I was riding high on, in high school. And then, I soon realized that that was more of a handicap than anything else. And that is because I went to school. I went to a four-year university, largely due to my parents, and stern insistence. College was never an option for me and my sister. Me and my sister were going to college, or we were hitting the streets. It was something we've been told ever since we were kids. So, of course, right out of high school, I went into college. Now, see, right about now, there's probably some people thinking, there's a lot of people that go to community college right out of high school. And that, some certain people, especially kids that went to like a four-year university straight out of high school, will talk shit on that, when I actually want to propose and believe in the idea of going to community college before your four-year university being the better method. And I'll tell you why. I went to four-year university, and because of my habits I developed in high school, being the non-study habits, skate by just by doing whatever I wanted, I didn't do so well. I had way too much fun in my first year of college. I never went to class, really. I definitely didn't do homework. Which is really the only thing that doesn't translate from high school to a normal state for university, is that you do have to do schoolwork in college. But the great thing is that's all you have to really do. You can actually just do schoolwork like one time a week and you'll graduate with like B+ and A's, because it's that easy. You just have to do the work. Not, there's a lot of people who say, oh, I didn't do good in college because I'm dumb, or I'm not intelligent enough to do any of that stuff. No, you're wrong. All that stuff in college they're teaching you is basic as shit. Like, none of that stuff is incredibly complicated. You don't get into that stuff until grad school. The only reason why you probably didn't do well is because you didn't learn it. You didn't read it. The difference between knowing something and not knowing something is not how smart you are. It's just whether you read it or not. I know certain things not because I'm smart, because I read them in a book by someone that was smart, and I just know them because I'm afforded the benefit of his intelligence and history, basically. But you go into college, and just like many American youth, I was just not ready for that much responsibility. I didn't go to class, partied too much. My social life became the most important thing ever. I finally had freedom. I didn't live at home anymore, and all the great things that come along with college. It proved too much for your boy Kos, and he didn't do so well. Ended up getting on academic probation. And my parents are stern, it came to like, wow, you went to Greensboro, I went to UNCG, was my first, college. And they tell you, you're not gonna, go up there and do work, you're coming home. And they yanked me out of that school quick as shit. I came home, I think in May, right after my exams, I came home after my first semester, and basically got told it's either the streets or school. And right at that point, I was a second-grade citizen in my house for a whole year. And that whole year, I went to community college. Now, community college is a lot like high school in a lot of ways. It's definitely easier academically. It is less stringent, and just overall, the actual programs are just geared towards people that weren't ready for college, or are returning to school, or just in the middle of like a segue into like the difference between the actual American educational society in community college. Now, I argue, the benefit of this, because I should have done that. I should have gone from high school to community college, got my, general education stuff out of the way, and then transferred to a four-year university, which is actually becoming an increasingly popular route for, kids in America. I mean, not just that, and then people are probably arguing, oh, well, the whole point of community college is to go to a four-year university. Well, for a lot of people, it should be. But, I'm not stupid. I'm not, totally oblivious to the world. There are people that, in general, just don't benefit as much from a traditional educational, situation, and that community college and getting a trade school degree or 2-year degree is pretty much, you know, what's best for them. In a lot of ways, I mean, this actually helps America in so many ways. You know, a lot of people hate on the trade or community college system as just kind of being like a wannabe college or just somewhere you go to get a 2-year degree that doesn't matter. They completely forget that we live in a service industry. And what do I mean by that? Our largest gross domestic product here in America is financial services. We're a service-based industry. We don't even really make anything anymore. We outsource that overseas or import stuff, and we make very few products actually here in America for a whole bunch of other reasons I won't get into. But you know, who is going to fill all these service jobs? Who's going to go fix your, you know, appliances when you go buy them from one of these large supermarkets? Who's going to manage you know, these stores? Who's going to go do all these millions of jobs? You know, a lot of people that go to college think they graduate and they instantly get a CEO job or a presidency job, or you get to manage all these people and go do these great things. No, I'm sorry. All the way down from the lowliest state school graduate all the way to a Harvard Law School graduate. When you graduate, you go work at a firm or a company or any of these places, you start at the bottom. No matter who you are, how good you did in school, because unless you did like a million internships while you were in school, you still graduate with 0 work experience, no connections, no network. You just have some book smarts that you learn, and pretty much the only thing that's been proven about you is that you'll show up for 2 or 4 years to something important. And that's pretty much all college really signifies, is you have a piece of paper, doesn't matter what's written on it. It just shows the world that, hey, you know, I care enough about my future to go learn a bunch of bullshit for 4 years, and I'm that mature and that dedicated, you know, to working for something greater than my weekend. And that's pretty much, you know, what it comes down to, you know, what the actual degree means. But what you learn in college is so much greater than that. I almost believe that, you know, everything you learn in college is extremely important. I'll go into that and how certain classes just really help you, you know, not succeed in the industry in which you got your degree in, but just succeed as an adult, because this world's incredibly complicated, and if you don't know something, you just don't know it. And not because you're stupid, uneducated, or unintelligent, you just don't know because you've never heard them before, because that shit don't happen on news channels, and doesn't come up on Twitter, and doesn't in the Simpsons cartoons, or it's not on South Park. You know, it's not on ESPN. They just don't talk about certain things because all those people talking about it went to school. They're all givens. Why would we discuss them? So what do I mean by, you know, the important things you learn outside of textbooks? Outside of class, you learn probably the most valuable skill that you could ever learn in school or any collegiate atmosphere, and that's how to work with other people. Now, this is extremely hard, and a lot of people never grasp it, but the people who do are the people that are going to be extremely successful in the future. And what's an example of that? You could graduate from college with straight A's, top of your engineering department, you know, the best, you know, architect in your studio, blah, all these different things, and basically you get those grades all from individual accomplishments and things like that. But if you can't work with people, if you can't manage people or be managed by somebody, you're never going to get a job. I don't care how smart you are, what grades you got, what projects you can do, what you're even capable of. If you're going to be an ass to work with, if nobody's going to want to work for you, if you're going to make everything difficult, if your communication skills suck, all these things, you know, all get built in college. And the reason why they get built in college is because your only atmosphere before that was high school. And let's face it, the kind of communication and the way you related to your peers in high school is not how the world works at all. It's actually, you hear it all the time. I'm sure, you know, everyone's aware of that. So that when you get into college and you're forced to do these group projects, or, you know, you're forced to live in a dorm, or you've got to live like with a whole bunch of people around you and kind of live amongst people, and not just by living near. You can learn that in the city. You actually have to work, bounce ideas off, and just generally grow as a human being and find yourself with all these people, and doing that far away from your home, not with your parents' comfort, and, you know, among just other individuals, teaches you one, how small you are compared to the world and everything, you know, how important everything is that everyone's doing and everything that's functioning. But really just teaches you how to wiggle your way into that whole scheme. Where do you belong? What kind of person are you in a group of 5 people? How do you want to relate with these kind of people? Now, I meet a lot of kids in college and met a lot of people, more so even in law school. that, you know, because of their intelligence and because, you know, their grades in class and all these little measuring stick things that probably got taught to them as, you know, in an early age, gives them this kind of arrogance and ego that they don't have to do certain things, they don't have to work with certain people, you should just listen to them because of who they are. And although that worked in college, I just would hate to be that person afterwards, because they're gonna, whatever company that their internships or, you know, their good grades or their connections got them into, if you go in there and act like you're hot shit straight out of college, dude, you're never gonna make it anywhere, because that's what people at companies hate the most. That does touch upon another really important topic, is a lot of people will graduate colleges and, you know, have a hard time getting a job. Will have a hard time, most importantly, finding a job in their degree area. Or just generally complain about their inability to pay back school loans. Now I'm about to touch upon both those subjects. One, if you went to college for 4 years and did really good in school and did all that stuff, but didn't go to any job fairs, didn't do any internships and do all that stuff, well then you might be just as dumb as a person that didn't go. Now I say that with full awareness that I'm one of those people. I went to school, just went to class, did well in school, cared about my social life all the way through college, and believe it or not, even in law school, and didn't do a whole lot of internships. Now I have a reason why I didn't do it in law school, and I'll get to that, but, you know, in college I just didn't see how important it was. I knew it was important because they shove it down your throat. They tell you how important that is. And most people know you get your first job based on your internship that you do in your junior, sophomore, and senior year. And it's very true. Most people I know at a college that had good jobs straight out of college got their job either at a job fair or an internship. So, but if you don't do that kind of stuff, then you graduate with zero work experience, zero connections, which is extremely important. All you have is a piece of paper saying that, hey, I showed up somewhere every 4 years and read someone else's book. Which is, you know, not terrible, it's better than not having it, but really it's just not the way to do school. So if you actually do go to school, please take advantage of all the resources available. Not in just four universities. They have, you know, more so in trade schools and community colleges. They work with a lot more companies directly, because you enter that school within a short amount of time, you got to be placed in the job force, or the workforce. And these schools, don't kid yourself, they market job placement. When they're trying to get new students, you know, don't forget it's a capitalistic company. It's a private institution that is, you know, economically driven. You know, they're trying to attract new students, and the amount of job placements the amount of people they can place in their jobs in their degree areas, the better the school looks. And those numbers are always incredibly inflated and usually never right, but it's something that, you know, you really do have to take advantage of in school to be able to succeed afterwards. Now, a lot of that still is adding on to all the things that just naturally come with a college degree, but really it's all the things outside of the classroom that I really wanted to stress how important it is. I touched upon it for a second, that was school loans. Now, I'm sure a lot of you people that have made it this far in this video, because I know I'm ranting on for forever, have probably already written a comment about how evil school loans are, how expensive it is to go to college, how they can't afford it, or, you know, if they have afforded it, they're paying it off until they're, you know, 40, 50 years old, and that, you know, just in general, that even teachers in their school or articles they read in the New York Times say that, you know, promulgate all the evils of school loans. And I'm going to tell you the reason why is because, just like everything else in life, you have to be smart to take advantage of a system and use it correctly. Now, don't kid yourself a second time by thinking financial products don't prey upon the stupid. The reason why America sells so many financial products is so many people didn't go to school and take a basic accounting course or a basic finance course and are completely bewildered by simplistic topics like time value of money and you know, accounting and little things like that. Like, they really can't even manage their own finances, even if they are incredibly successful in their industry. If they own a chain of food stores or a chain of, you know, sandwich shops or apparel stores, and they could all be doing really well in a robust economy, but as soon as the, you know, sales start going down, if they don't have any kind of, you know, knowledge about basic accounting, their businesses tank quicker than hell. And the old saying is, just because you can make a good sandwich doesn't mean you can run a business, and so much of that is true. Now, all that applies to the loan institutions. Now, the people you're going to hear complain about college loans went there without any regard to the actual loan and what they'd have to do to pay it back afterwards. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's just, you know, it costs a lot to go to school, and, you know, you had to borrow 40, 50 grand, and although they allow you to wait till you get a job, and they have the most favorable payment plans of any loan you'll ever get in your entire life until you have really good credit, but still then, you know, you're stuck in these, you know, this suck hole of having to pay all your income out for the first 10 years out of school when you've been broke for already like 20. You can't wait to spend some money. You know, you have to spend a whole bunch of money paying back your school loans. All the people you're going to hear, you know, say that went to four-year universities. You know, most of them either went to private schools, a lot of them went to state schools, but they lived on campus. You know, they ate well, they got all the books they wanted, they went out and partied, they had a car, you know, they went out and had a decent social life and did all these things, and through all that garnered up or added up around $30,000 to $40,000, $50,000 of school debt. Now that's even different in law school. I knew people there that had $200,000 of school debt, and it was ridiculous. But that's because you guys went and did the maximum allowable. These are still banks. You know, just because it says financial aid and, you know, what student loan doesn't mean someone's not somewhere making money off you. That's the whole reason why any of these systems work. So, you know, the way, if you're doing it like that and complaining about how long you had to pay for school, well, you just, you know, paid for the best experience, you know, that you'll probably ever get a loan for. The best thing you'll ever borrow money to pay for. You've just, you know, done it to the fullest extent. But that's not the only way you can do it. You know, I have plenty of friends from school that graduated, you know, a four-year state university, and even some even spent 5 years in school, which I did as well, as you guys can hear from my story earlier. I kind of messed up my first year, and which is becoming more and more, you know, increasingly popular with American children to take 5 years in school. But I know plenty of people that went to school, that lived at home, that had a part-time job, that didn't go out and have a crazy social life, and didn't try to act and, you know, like an adult and reap the benefits of all these things that, you know, normally you'd have to buy for yourself off of rich parents and things like that. And just, you know, lived at home, and, you know, the end goal was to graduate college with as little debt as possible, and so then you could start living real life. Because until you get a job after your college education and start your career, everything before that, I don't care what you've really done, it just doesn't matter. It's all a bunch of bullshit. That was you growing up. You know, when I'd say it a lot in my videos, like, haha, you're 17, you're not a real person yet. It's because you aren't. You know, until you're self-sufficient, you know, understand this world, or developed in your career and have a lot of these things, you're just, you know, haven't arrived to the greater working world, you know, how this whole thing works. You haven't gotten there yet. You know, but, you know, you can do school loans correctly. And if you do them correctly, then, you know, you'll pay off your school loans within the first 5 or 10 years and be the better for it. And, you know, they're not extremely expensive. You're going to spend more on your car payment than you are your student loans most of the time. But even then, it's America. It's a place where anybody can go to college, and that is extremely true. A lot of people will doubt it. You know, I'm from this financial background, or I'm from this, you know, this, I can't do it. That's not true. You know, there is this in abundance, almost so many that you can't even count them, of scholarship programs. Now, how do you get these scholarships or grants? You have to write essays, you have to go to these nerdy little meetings, pretty much just like work fairs, little things like that. You actually have to go do all these grown-up things, have phone calls and work with people and speak publicly and do all these adult things when you're a little kid. But that's how you prove to these people given the scholarships that you're worth it. And if you do that, and because there's just so many of them, you can actually pay for a large chunk of your school just by writing essays and having a head on your shoulders. And I can speak to this by truth. You know, in college, you know, I went off of, you know, my parents been saving up my whole life, and I had some help from my grandparents, and I did some small part-time work, you know, during the summers to be able to pay for certain things. But no, you know, I went to school at bare minimum expense, to be honest. You know, I went to a state school, UNC Charlotte. It was like, you know, every month, I think every month it was like $2,000 or $3,000. Not every month, but every semester it was like $2,000 or $3,000 in tuition, and then, you know, my rent, and then books. You know, it wasn't terrible. I think my whole entire college education probably cost about $30,000, $40,000 if you included things that, like, my parents were helping me pay for, like a cell phone and dinners they took me out to and Christmas presents and little things like that. But for the most part, you know, I lived for 4 whole years in school spending money on my education for $30,000, which is less than what most college graduates' first, you know, career, you know, salary is. So these things, you can do it correctly, and you can do it modestly. But when it came to law school, I wasn't going to go to law school right away because that shit's expensive as you wouldn't believe how expensive it is. Not just tuition, but just to live near them and to buy the textbooks. Law textbooks are like $1,000 a piece almost. It's ridiculous. A system that I could never get into, but you know, and I didn't go to law school necessarily because I wanted to be a lawyer right away, or I was just really excited to, you know, to go learn law. It was because school is so much damn fun that I didn't want it to end. You know, the light at the end of the tunnel came up after college, and I was like, you know, I'd go get a real job and go work and start, you know, the rest of my life. It's like, hell no. School's awesome, dude. All you get to do is you go learn new shit each day, you hang out with your friends, you make your own schedule, everything's different every single day. It's like the best situation ever. That's the real, you know, message I wanted to send to you guys, you know, hating on college. Don't kid yourselves. It's not all schoolwork. So much of it, you actually learn to like schoolwork, because learning shit and knowing about stuff becomes cool. Being able to speak intelligently and know a lot about any given topic and be able to talk about that in a room full of people and stuff like that becomes something that you inspire to want. And it's actually kind of like growing up. But yeah, you know, it came up at the very last minute. I was offered a scholarship or a grant from the school, a scholarship for the tuition, and to help me with my living expenses and a little bit of the tuition. I got a grant or a scholarship by the International Student Societies. You know, I'm half Asian. But you know that I did have to write, you know, essays and stuff like that, and I applied to an absolute shit ton of different grants and different things like that to help pay for it. And that's the reason why I went to law school in Oklahoma. I'm not from Oklahoma City. You know, I'm not hating, but I did not like it there. If you're from Oklahoma City, I'm sorry, but I think even you would agree. It's kind of the middle of nowhere. It's kind of lame. I'm not hating. There were certain things about it I liked, but just overall, I didn't like Oklahoma. The only reason why I went out there was, you know, to pay for, you know, it was paid school. You know, I got to go to law school and graduate with zero debt. You know, I'm not speaking like, you know, from a high horse. I had a lot of friends, you know, that went through financial aid systems. I actually know a whole lot about financial aid systems, and that whole thing is because so many of my friends were involved in it, almost all of them. Now, I'm Asian, so a lot of this was, you know, planned out ever since I was born to go to school, and like I said, it was never really an option. But you know, there is a million ways you can go to school. I knew a lot of people that took the bus an hour back to school from their parents' house, and then on the weekends worked at Chick-fil-A the whole time. Now, I've talked about all of the college, you know, experience, what you learn about in college, all the different things of how it helps you in life, or the courses you take there, simply because you learn about them for the first time and then you know them for the rest of your life. If you've never been exposed to that information, you just don't know it. But you know, there is a lot of reasons why a college education is necessary. Because you get a lot of people, even on Twitter this morning, people are saying, hey, I know someone that got this first job. I know someone that went straight from high school and got this job, and it's at a really good company, and you know, it's a really good job for someone that doesn't have a college education, and that it's still possible, that you're not to hate on it. Not hate on it, it's kind of a bad way of putting it, but I'm going to hit you with a small dose of reality. And that even if you got lucky enough, or knew someone, or had some kind of happenstance that allowed you to get a really good job out of high school in a position that would normally require a college degree, and you can find that stuff out easily, because you know, most of the time, you know, when you go out to hiring sites, any work site, job getting site, every company in America will list their minimum expectations. And four-year college degree, they usually don't even list what degree, just a four-year college degree is almost on all of them. The only thing I'm going to tell you is that although I'm extremely excited for you or your friend that you got a really good job out of high school and that you feel like you didn't need school and you got to go out and earn money quicker than everyone that went to school, because face it, people graduate at 22, I graduated law school at 26, 27 and had no work experience, no money, and you'd been working for, you know, the last 4 or 5 years or the last 4 years earning all this cash, and I'm really excited for you. The problem with that situation is you're going to be doing that job for forever. It's extremely hard to work your way up in a company for one of two reasons. Usually both, but I'm going to list both anyways. One, when you work up your way in a company, especially in technical jobs, anything besides really, you know, actually all of them, even management jobs, you continually are going back to school, usually funded by the company, to learn new things so that you can, you know, move up in the company. And very little of promotion is solely based on just experience. A lot of it, you know, a lot of it is experience, but there's definitely add-ons. You know, learn the management courses, special training for this, special training for that, and a lot of that is because we're still based on a system where not every person in the workforce has a college degree. You know, the person you work for might not have a college degree, but he's 60 and, you know, is a CEO of the company because the landscape has changed from when he entered in the workforce. Now, I'm about to explain that reason why, and why it's so hard to move up in a company without a college degree, despite how smart you are, despite who you know, and despite how well you've done. It's because you're constantly competing against someone that will have a degree. And having a college education does get you into this little club of people with this little piece of paper that just value it so much because they've been through all the stuff that I'm talking about, that even if you are just extremely capable, if another person comes up that's just equally as capable or even a little less capable than you but has that college degree, he's going to get the promotion almost every single time. He's going to be the one that gets to move within the company. He's the one that's going to switch from marketing to human resources to finance to accounting. And believe it or not, if you get a business degree, you're almost always going to end up working in accounting. I don't care what your degree is in. Those are America has an abundance of accounting needs and a bunch of accounting jobs, and you almost always end up there. But the person with a degree, that's how you're able to jump around. If you don't have that degree and you landed that job in accounting, guess what? You're going to be counting beans for the rest of your life at the very bottom because you can't move around, move up laterally or into anywhere in a company, not because of your own abilities, but because of who you're going to be competing against. And colleges right now are spewing out college graduates like you've never seen before. When the economy dipped, right when I was in college, right when I was out trying to get out of college and try to look for a job, which is another reason why I ended up going back to law school, because there was just no jobs, and there was still no jobs when I got out of law school. I ended up working at Papa John's delivering pizza while I was studying for the bar just to pay for rent. Imagine that, having a doctorate delivering pizza with a bunch of retards that were just fresh out of high school and had most of them dropped out. But you know, delivering pizza, believe it or not, is, you know, how so many of us, you know, start out and how we earn money. And it is actually an incredibly humbling experience and taught me a lot about the world. Because once you graduate school, and that's another phenomenon that I would like to just touch upon, is that being in school is fun, you know, for all the reasons I've listed, of course, but because while you're in college, like, you're successful. You go home at Christmas, your whole family's proud of you. You talk to your friends that are either in school or out of school or haven't gone, and they're all proud of you. You're in school, you're doing what you're supposed to. Life's great. All you have to worry about is, you know, doing your schoolwork, you know, keeping your girlfriend happy, or making sure you get to your part-time job so you can pay for extra beer. All that stuff is incredibly simple. But when you graduate, you're gonna go through this period where you'll either move back home, or, you know, if you're really lucky, you've already got a job lined up and you've gone to that company, where you go from being like up here to all the way down here. Because you go from college graduate, doing well in school, to either not having a job or being the lowliest little office monkey that just graduated, just a little baby person, a baby adult is what they usually refer to us. They refer to me as a baby lawyer, and they refer to all the people that just graduate from school. You're just back at the bottom of the totem pole, and guess what? You have to spend your whole life working your way up. So when people say, and that's why I get so, I've made this video, because it's almost enraging that when you hear people say, oh, you don't need a college degree to do this, you don't need that, it's like, one, not only are you like completely fucking wrong, but you're totally instilling this idea, this hope that you get to go live a lavish lifestyle, be successful, do all these great things without having to work for it. That you can just do it by being lucky or extremely talented. I'm going to tell you that you've heard about an extreme amount of people that are extremely talented and well educated and work really, really hard. And the people that you've heard about that are just talented, you don't. They're called one-hit wonders. They're called, you know, they're called rappers that have, you know, a year or two of really high singles and then go bankrupt because they have no idea how to manage their own personal finances. It's NBA stars that skip straight to the NBA, and I don't think they can do that in football, but they switch straight to the NBA, make all this money, go out into the world and just get eaten alive by predators and companies and leagues and their friends and their entourage, and they just get destroyed because they've never gone to school. And some that did, you know, just got babied their whole way through and never actually had to experience. Because when you go through school being someone special, that kind of destroys the purpose. You go to school to learn that everyone's really special, but you have to work for it. Being special without a work ethic is equal to nothing. Means you're gonna sit at home, you're gonna be mom's special little boy, not the world's special little guy, you know. So, you know, a lot of it's just, you know, so much is built upon working hard and then continuing to work hard. And right when you think that, you know, when you set out for this original goal of graduating college or getting this job, right about when you reach that goal, right around when you graduate, right when you get that job, you realize, wow, there's still so much more that needs my attention. There's still so much more in my future that's going to require just as much or even more hard work, more hours, more dedication, more sacrifice. Everything you want in life heads towards that way. Now, you know, I've seen videos on YouTube that, you know, kind of go against what I've just said, that, you know, they kind of give all these examples of how the world used to be better when you could just go pick a piece of land and survive off it and grow your relationships and start a business, and that was all it took. But, like, that's just not realistic, and honestly is usually said by someone that's just unhappy of where they're at. Because a certain amount of being happy in life is not so much what you're doing, it's just the satisfaction of being able to do it. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that go to work every single day and they hate their jobs, but they don't hate their life, because every single night they go home to their family, or every single weekend they go hang out with their friends on the lake, or they go fishing, or they have a million other hobbies, and they keep themselves, you know, really happy outside of work and just kind of do work. Now, that can kind of sound a little sad or a little loathly, but really, you know, that's just, you know, part of life. If everything was extremely fun and extremely easy, you'd get no satisfaction, and you'd end up like one of these child stars. Or that, you know, you ever knew that rich kid in college that was really popular, had all the nice cars and toys, and could have gone to any college in the country, but ended up doing nothing, working for his dad, and his dad won't even promote him because the dude's fucking stupid? We all know that guy. And then, you know, and so the main reason I want to make this video is, one, just because I want to start doing rant videos, and this is a topic I feel like I know a lot about and could continue to talk about. There's so much stuff that I didn't even touch upon that I would like to tell you about, but, you know, we'll save that for just the next video, because I think we're almost at like 20 or 30 minutes here, which is ridiculous. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this rant video. I hope it, you know, maybe enlightened you a little. I will definitely, you know, respond in comments if you guys want to debate any of this kind of stuff. And just kind of talk about, you know, why any of the things I really talked about. If you want, you know, come please argue with me. I would love to, you know, I do like to debate, I do like to argue, and I would love to, you know, hear your point of views. And I would like, you know, I am not necessarily 100% right on everything I said, because, you know, there's always exceptions to the rules. There's always people that can tell you that, oh, I did this differently, I did this without having to do what you said, I accomplished this without having to do any of that crap. But I will tell you that, you know, you're proud of that, because not everyone can do that. And that I am talking to a large amount of people that if you want to give yourself the best hand to play this game with, why not have a college card in there, or a community college associate's degree, or a trade school? I didn't talk about community college and trade schools as much as I want to. I did touch upon the need, the general need for our economy almost being built upon those institutions, because, you know, not everyone can be in the top 10%. Not everyone can be a CEO of a company. It's great that everyone has that dream, but, you know, we need people, educated, smart people at every part of the spectrum. We need educated people from all the way from your mechanic all the way up to the CEO of a conglomerate. We need really smart people that know how to do their job, that are fulfilled in life, and that can do these things just so that we can operate as a society. And that's how I would generally argue for things like trade schools and community colleges. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. I'm out of here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope some of you made it this far. I hope some of you made it. I don't know if I'd have listened to me talk like this. I'm probably in editing, I'm probably going to skip forward. So yeah, peace.